Well, residents living near alleged US gunman James Holmes have been told they will soon be allowed to return home after Denver's bomb squad started unravelling a network of booby traps in his apartment. Well, US correspondent Jane Cowan is in Denver and she joins us now. And Jane, yesterday we heard just how complex these booby traps in the apartment were. Police were shocked. What have they found?
Well, Andrew, there has been some good news today on that front. The bomb squad today, after a very slow and methodical process, has been able to de-rig this apartment which was laced with these explosives. I was standing on the edge of the block within sight of the building when they let off what they called a controlled detonation, deliberately firing one of the improvised explosive devices off, and you could certainly hear and feel quite a loud boom from that, but they say it went very well. They are cautioning, saying that there still remains a large number of hazardous substances inside that apartment, chemicals that they don't quite know what they are, but they do believe, they are optimistic that they have managed to do away with the major threats inside that apartment, and now the task really turns to police investigators combing through the belongings of the accused shooter for evidence and hopefully finding more clues as to a motive. Andrew, as far as the investigation more broadly goes, police here in Denver aren't saying too much. They are very keen not to jeopardise the legal process that now kicks in. The shooter is expected to face court next week. It'll be Tuesday, Australia time. But they are saying that they are uncovering evidence of planning, not least because the shooter, the accused shooter, took a large number of commercial deliveries of ammunition in the lead up to this attack, both to his home address and to his workplace.
Jane, undoubtedly there would have been a good deal of shock and disbelief in not only the community of Aurora but more broadly throughout the state of Colorado and of course the United States. What's the feeling there in the community at the moment?
Well, Andrew, the original kind of shock and grief seems to be turning now to something else, to really a sense of anger. I've spoken to people here at this spontaneous memorial that's sprung up on the roadside opposite the mall where the cinema is, and they are really struggling to get their heads around what has happened, and beneath this sense of loss is a creeping feeling of anger at the shooter. How could he have turned a place as safe and normal as a movie theatre into the scene of so much horror? It's a place that everyone goes. They go there with their children. There have been a very large number of young people and children here at this memorial today. One of them was even wearing a Batman t-shirt, a tiny little boy. But they are saying that really they are worried now about going about their usual business. And one lady even said she can't bring herself to look at a photo of the alleged shooter because she just feels so much anger towards him. Now, that sense of anger takes on a particular tone for the police here in Aurora, because they are in no doubt, Andrew, that that booby-trapped apartment was meant for them. They are saying that the apartment was left with loud techno music blaring, the door was actually unlocked, and there was a tripwire across that door. So the thought is that it was all meant to generate a noise complaint that the police would have been the first ones to respond to, and if they had walked through that door, they would have been seriously injured or perhaps killed. Let's have a listen to what the local police chief, Dan Oates, has been saying about this.
Make no mistake, okay, this apartment was designed, I say, based on everything I've seen, to kill whoever entered it, okay? And who was most likely to enter that location after he planned and executed this horrific crime? It was going to be a police officer, okay? So make no mistake about it, what was going on there. And if you think we're angry, we sure as hell are angry.
That is the police chief, Dan Oates. And Jane, what next now for the community?
Well, Andrew, they're really trying to reclaim some kind of sense of normality. There is an official memorial planned for about this time tomorrow here in Aurora, but the mall has reopened. There's not that many people there. It's mostly media who are in the car park today, but things are trying to get back to a semblance of normality. This is a community that has suffered through the Columbine High School shooting in 1999, and at a very emotional press conference here today, many of the speakers, from the governor to the mayor to the fire and police chiefs, were really urging this community to not let trauma define them and to still keep going about their ordinary lives. Let's have a listen to what the Colorado governor had to say along those lines.
This is isolated. This is one event that has no relevance to what people should expect today or tomorrow or the next day. Despite an event like this, I keep stressing that this is one of the safest cities and one of the safest states in the safest country in the world. And there's a bunch of folks on our staff that took their kids to the movies last night, just as a way of trying to demonstrate that we're not going to be back down.
Jane, we've just heard the governor there saying this is one of the safest cities, one of the safest states, one of the safest countries. A lot of people would argue that point because of the issue of gun crime. I know it's early days, but are people there you're talking to, have they been talking about the issue of gun control?
Listen, I think, Andrew, the people who are closest to this and who actually have lost people in that movie theatre aren't really thinking that far at the moment. They don't really have the emotional space for it. I think they're just feeling the loss of their loved ones. I think that debate is really happening amongst maybe the political class and people further removed from this trauma, but it certainly has reactivated that whole debate. When I was on the plane coming here to cover this story, on either side of me, there were two very different women, both of whom were blaming this on guns, although they were also raising the issue of mental health. But both of them also owned guns. So it's a very complicated picture here in the US.
OK. Jane Cowan in Denver, thanks very much. Right, fighting is reported to have intensified across Syria, with the city of Aleppo seeing a second day of fierce clashes. In Damascus, government troops appear to have gained the upper hand after 6 days of fighting.
If this isn't a civil war, then it certainly looks like